Live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Representative Ilhan Omar, fresh off a resolution that rebuked her implicitly, because it's just a bridge too far for Democrat socialists to rebuke her explicitly for anti-Semitism. She was caught in the hallway by her office by a Fox reporter who wanted to follow up on the comment she had made about President Obama, that he was a pretty face who got away with murder.
Yeah, he was hiding behind his pretty face.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying everything she says is wrong. And was asked by this Fox reporter to clarify those remarks and compare President Obama to President Trump. Here's what Representative Omar had to say.
Quick question. Can you set the record straight when it comes to the Politico interview? I just want to get your side of the story. Do you believe that Trump and Obama are the same, just different when it comes to their polishedness? We understand that you refute this Politico story. Could you just set the record straight so we get your side of it? Do you think that President Obama is the same as President Trump?
Absolutely not. That is silly to even think and equate the two. One is human, the other is...
Is it true that you just think that he's more polished than Trump?
No.
Did you say one is human and one is not?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So President Obama is human. President Trump is not human. That's the difference between the two. Now, this is somebody who the leader of the Democrat Socialists, AOC, the architect of the GND, has rallied to defend. And so I guess that's where most of the Democratic Party is, because that cross-section of Democrat Socialist voters that are looking forward to the 2020 primary, this is what they had to say on that CNN little panel, little focus grouping that Allison Camerata does. Here's 6 Democrat Socialist primary voters talking about AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, your thoughts? She's bad.
Man,
oh my God!
Yay!
I love
yes.
her.
Wow, what a woman!
Amazing. And
again,
yes. I mean, she's asking the right questions. I don't feel like she's playing games. I'm so excited about her. She is smart. She is intelligent, and I cannot wait to see what else she does.
Well, I know she's got the Democratic Party nervous, and I mean, in a way, they should be nervous, because she does represent the new guard, the new generation. I think she really kind of personifies, where we expect things to go down the line.
She's the candidate of the future. She has got this down pat, and she has also nailed it. And as a woman in a male-dominated field, this is how women in the male-dominated fields, we have to work like this all the time. She is the candidate of the future. Get ready for her, because she's coming.
Oh my goodness! When you lose your job, you explore space. This is the candidate of the future.
At least 2 different Americas across political, ideological, rational lines. But there's the reaction. So. We talked about this a bit yesterday. AOC on substance, you could dismiss her. You could laugh her off stage. In terms of currency within the body politic, no laughing matter. For more on this topic, by the way, the AFL-CIO doesn't agree with that CNN panel, but maybe the AFL-CIO is another Democratic Socialist Party anachronism. I don't know. More on this. We're pleased to be joined by our friend Salena Zito, Washington Examiner reporter, New York Post columnist, CNN contributor. The book, The Great Revolt, Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics. Salena, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So what about the starlets of the socialist left, Omar, Tlaib, and AOC? How are they to be understood in the context of this run-up to the Democratic primary for president?
So I think that, and I've been writing about this for a while, this has been a surging part of the Democratic Party, and it has, I don't know if infiltrated is the right word, but it has found a comfortable place within the Democratic Party, within their ranks. But more importantly, it is the most vocal part of the Democratic Party. And we should not be surprised by anything that she or AOC says, because they've never pretended to be anything else except who they are. And this is the problem, which we wrote about in the Great Revolt in great detail, that the Democrats face going into 2020 running against Donald Trump for the presidency. If the party within the primary system pushes the party too far left, and I think we've already reached that point, they're really going to struggle to win over squishy Democrats or independents or unsatisfied Republicans to vote for the Democratic candidate, whoever it ends up being. I think Sherrod Brown, who left this week the process, would have been one of the few who would be able to win in Great Lake, Rust Belt states like Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Ohio, but he's gone. Joe Biden could win over voters, but I don't know if he can make it through the primary process, because the Democrats that vote in primaries are much further left than Biden has ever been as an elected official.
But right now, Biden, I mean, so many stations and cable stations and newspapers have done polls, and Biden is leading the pack.
Absolutely.
So would he have to choose a very lefty running mate if he did get or even try to become president?
He probably would, although he has been dropping signals for the past month that if he's running, it's not going to be in the same vitriolic attitudes that you see from other Democrats, from my profession, and from activists who tend to mob people online, on Twitter and other forms of social media.
Although
Yes.
Biden has shown that he will not resist the mob. I mean, sort of walking back in his characterization of Mike Pence as a decent guy. That's unacceptable rhetoric.
Right, but yesterday in Washington D.C. in front of the firefighters union, he lamented doing that. Mm-hmm. And he said, I mean, what kind of country is this that you can't even say something nice about someone who is your political opponent? And I think he was telling people, you know what, on second thought, I'm not going to be that guy who walks back things.
Do you have any?
So it's interesting.
Do you have any doubt that he's going to run? He seemed to indicate he was going to run it before the firefighters yesterday.
I'll be very surprised if he's not going to run. Look, I went to the Democratic committee nomination process here in Pittsburgh last weekend to gauge where activists were, the most, sort of most engaged Democratic voters are, the ones that will participate in a primary. And Biden was everyone's choice. I couldn't find anyone who didn't say Biden as their first choice.
Now, Nancy Pelosi, as you know, came out and said that, we're not going to try and impeach or have impeachment hearings on President Trump. What do you think that says about the Mueller report? And when do you think we're actually going to have that completed?
I think Pelosi's comments aren't really about the Mueller report. I think they're more about understanding what would be good or not good for the country. It's very much like what Gerald Ford did with Nixon after he resigned from office, in which he took obviously the ultimate political risk and decided to pardon him. Pelosi cut a deal to be Speaker for a pledge to not stick around after 2 terms as Speaker. So she knows where the end is in sight, and she probably made the best statement for the country, but not for someone who planned on being Speaker forever.
Now, Kevin Brady, Republican from Texas and chairman of the House Ways and Means, says he doesn't buy Pelosi's statement. Really? Says that even if she means it, she's not going to be able to stave off the base of her caucus that wants to move towards impeachment. And you had some pushback on her statement from some of those caucus mates of hers. What do you think about that? Will she be able to hold back the Brad Shermans and Jerry Nadlers and Adam Schiffs of the world?
Yeah, she's a speaker. They're not.
Okay. All right.
Literally, it's that simple. Now, if she's not speaker after 2020, they can do whatever they want and put whatever speaker they want in place. But that requires consensus and a majority. And there are a lot of Democrats who do not like President Trump, but are smart enough to realize what that kind of vengeance would do to the country and aren't ready to sign up to be part of something that does tear the country apart.
Yesterday, in this report in the Washington Examiner, one of your publications as well, that Lisa Page's testimony, her testimony from last year, transcriptions of it, discussing whether or not Hillary Clinton was going to be charged, with their discussions about her being charged for her mishandling of classified information. And she disclosed in her testimony that there were conversations, including involving FBI Director at the time, James Comey, about charging Hillary Clinton for gross negligence in her handling of intelligence, but that was shut down. The prospect of those charges was shut down by the Loretta Lynch-led Justice Department. Is there anything significant about these statements from Lisa Page, who, for those who've left their scorecards at home, she was the lawyer who was Peter Strzok's lover.
Gross, but yeah.
But anything significant about that with respect to consideration for this Justice Department headed by Bill Barr giving another look-see at Hillary Clinton's conduct during her time as Secretary of State?
Well, I mean, certainly the DOJ will probably, or has probably already started seeing what, if anything, can be made of it. But I don't think anyone was surprised by that admission. It was sort of always suspected that it stopped at the DOJ. It just was confirmed yesterday. This is part of the problem we have in this country, and this lack of trust in our larger institutions to do the things that are right and not things that benefit themselves and or their politics. And it just once again reinforces sort of why both parties are engaged in populism and are skeptical of all things big, because they make decisions that impact and benefit their people as opposed to the greater good of what they're supposed to be accomplishing.
And you can get more of these insights and more distillation on the political landscape from Salena Zito in her book, The Great Revolt, Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping America's Politics, as well as from her regular reporting at the Washington Examiner and columns at the New York Post. Salena, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com.